Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show. It is episode number 24. So welcome to 2021. It's a new year. Let's talk about when is the best time to invest. I'm sorry you missed it. That was yesterday. It's all over with. It's too late now. The next best time would be today. And the absolutely next worst time would be...
Welcome to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, where you will learn about investing, the power of real estate investing, and how to invest in it. Whether you have the time or even if you don't, you're going to see it's attainable either way. And now your host, who always wants to share knowledge with you, Christopher Balcom.
And the absolutely next worst time is tomorrow. Why? Because does tomorrow ever come? With investing or saving or any of these financial things, we're always waiting until later. I'll wait until the values go down. The only thing about that when it comes to real estate investing is that real estate is typically on the upswing. And if it were to go down, how would you know? Is someone going to call you, or are you going to receive a letter? Is there a report on the TV or in the newspaper? Well, maybe for that last one, you do sometimes see little snippets of real estate news on TV or in the newspaper. But what do those snippets mean? Mortgage rates are down, mortgage applications are up or down, the median sales price rose by X%, housing sales have increased. You've probably heard some or all of these terms or phrases on the afternoon or evening news. What do these things mean? What do these phrases mean? And do they matter at all? Some of these have a meaning. Let's take them one at a time. Mortgage rates. Most know this is a type of loan that is utilized to purchase real estate, right? The mortgage is usually the largest or one of the largest expenses when it comes to real estate or real estate investment. As mortgage rates drop, they're referring to the mortgage interest rate, the cost of the loan, and therefore the loan payment. So when the mortgage interest rate is less or goes down or drops, that means the loan payment is less or goes down or drops. When you hear people say that money is cheap, this is exactly what they're talking about. When mortgage rates are low, this is a good time to buy. But it does not mean that if mortgage rates are higher, you shouldn't buy. Because let's remember, the income from real estate property is actually what pays the mortgage, not you personally or you specifically. The income from the lease or rental payments pay it. So if the mortgage is high or mortgage rates or mortgage interest rates are high, maybe the rental from the income property should be a little higher or is higher also. And other times, the cost of real estate slows down, or the cost of the real estate may be less to compensate for those higher interest rates. Coincidentally, rates right now, mortgage interest rates right now are very low. Like I'm talking like record lows. So if mortgage rates were a factor, they are a positive factor with real estate investing right now. What about mortgage applications? Mortgage applications are down, or mortgage applications were up last month. I hear some of the economic news cycles mention mortgage applications being up or down. What does this mean? This is the volume of applications, the number of people actually applying for mortgages. This really has nothing to do with anything when it comes to you as an investor or potential real estate investor. Although it may make you wonder, should I be buying something or getting in on this action if so many others are? I don't know. Should you? Let's talk about a few of these other items and then let's decide. Housing sales. This is another popular one that gets mentioned in the evening or afternoon news cycles. Housing sales were up last year. Housing sales were down last month. This is also volume. Similar to mortgage applications, this is just that volume. Again, the volume, and doesn't have anything to do with anything. It does tell you that transactions are taking place. Real estate is changing hands. About how many transactions? How about 6 million existing homes being sold in 2020? The highest in 14 years. And that's during a health pandemic. So at a time when you think people are sitting and waiting for something, nope, there's a whole lot of activity taking place. Why so much volume? Why so many transactions? I would say partly a few things. People moving to larger homes. With more people working from home, you may need an extra office or an extra bedroom that you make an office. When you have kids home and a husband and wife home, you may need to spread out more space for kids to work on their schoolwork and the wife to do what she's doing and the husband to do what they're doing. So people are moving to larger homes. Some people are moving outside of the metropolitan areas that they once resided in to save money. We're going to get back to that one in a moment. And what did we just talk about with mortgage rates? Money is cheap. You may just decide to buy a larger home or move to a different area or a different home simply because the mortgage interest rates allow you to do that. They may allow you to buy a little bit more of a home, a little bit larger home, and keep the mortgage payment affordable. All right, what's next? Median sales prices of existing homes. This is the median or the middle number in a series of numbers for housing sales prices. For 2020, for example, it was in the low 300,000. So the median or in all the different home sales or existing home sales that took place, over 6 million, remember, that middle number was about 300,000. So does that really matter to you as a potential investor in real estate? Not really, but there's some parts you can pull out of it that you could make sense of. The actual number itself alone, $300,000, that doesn't matter so much, and here's why. So housing costs vary greatly from region to region. It could be $500,000 in one region is the median sales price for existing homes. It could be $200,000 in another region. So just looking at that number for the entire United States and talking about the U.S., that number doesn't mean much all by itself. But you can look at that number and compare it to years prior and see if the number is rising or falling. That could mean something. That lets you know if the real estate is going up in price or going down in price or going up in value, going down in value. I started this show by saying that typically real estate is on the upswing, and that's usually the case, but there are some times you can look at the trends and see that real estate values or housing is down. Even still, the prices or the values could fall in one region and increase in another for a wide variety of reasons. Job growth in a region, supply and demand in a region, and as I mentioned earlier, some people moving out of high-cost metropolitan areas to areas that cost less. Why? Because the events and activities, restaurants that drew many people to these metropolitan areas are closed because of COVID-19. So maybe I no longer need to be in the heart of things or in the downtown area or close to downtown if there's nothing open downtown. Another reason is some employers allowing their employees, where possible, to work full-time from home. So these employees no longer need to be where the employers are located. And some employers are saying this is going to be permanent. This is going to be a long-term thing. It's not going to change for them when COVID-19 leaves us. So if the area or the region where your employer is a high-cost region, it costs you a whole lot to live there, and you could save a lot of money for you and your family by moving somewhere else that costs less, maybe back to your hometown. And I'm not talking about just neighborhoods within a city. Some employees are leaving their employers' states and cities and moving across the country. So again, you may move back to your hometown or somewhere else you always wanted to live. Somewhere less expensive, ideally. So what do all these trends on the news or newspaper mean for you as a potential real estate investor? If your thought before was that you had to sit on the sideline and wait until all the stars aligned and all these different metrics or these phrases about sales prices and mortgage rates and applications, and now you know that these things don't matter so much, then you're right. The answer is not a whole lot. What do these things have to do with you as an investor? Not a whole lot. Out of all these things, low mortgage rates or cheap money provides a good opportunity for investors to potentially have a better return when acquiring real estate. Remember, income minus expenses equals cash flow. We talked about that in prior shows last year. And this cash flow is a part of your return on investment. So again, if the mortgage is the largest expense and you can decrease that expense, that means more cash flow or potentially a better return on your investment. More for me as an investor and more for you if you are investing. If some of these terms like return on investment or income, expenses, cash flow, if these terms are not familiar to you, don't worry. Go back and listen to episode 3, episode 4 from last year, and we started to talk about this. And we'll talk about it again this year too. So low mortgage rates help, but housing volumes and pricing, that doesn't mean so much for you as an investor. Maybe if you were looking for a house to live in, you may pay attention to the housing values and the housing prices, and maybe you try to buy a house at the right time. But as an investor, those things with volumes and applications and pricing, and that doesn't matter so much. I can attest firsthand that I've seen no drops in pricing. I wish they would drop, but I've seen no indication, no drops in pricing for the real estate that I invest in. Most of the housing trends that you hear spoken about on TV, newspapers, same things we've talked about today, home prices and mortgage applications and volumes of sales. These are related to residential. So again, if you were going to go buy a house, then you would complete a mortgage application. These volumes are typically related to the individual or the family going to purchase or sell the home that they're going to live in. But as a commercial multifamily real estate investor, again, I have seen no slips or decreasing in pricing. I wish it would, because that would be great for me and other investors or peers of mine, but so far, no glimpses of a decrease in price. Why is that? Why in commercial multifamily real estate has there been no decreases in pricing? You're going to learn about that in upcoming shows. Well, I'll share a quick glimpse into future shows. It's related to the risk of real estate compared to other investments that are out there. It weathers the storm in the economy. It meets the need of people, giving them a place to stay. And we all need a place to stay, right? Now, what else have I seen? I have seen less transactions. I have seen less of that in 2020 compared to prior years. There's less things for sale. And I think I know the reason behind that too. We'll get to it in a future show. One awesome thing though is that it's picking back up. My peers and I are happy to see that. A few shows ago, I did a mini series talking about finding deals. And more transactions means more real estate for sale. Someone's selling, someone's buying. That helps with finding opportunities to invest in. So, if you didn't invest yesterday, now you know today is as good of a day as any. But if you're waiting for tomorrow, nothing about tomorrow is going to make it better than today. In fact, since real estate is always on the upswing, at least typically, you can likely obtain a better return on your investment today than tomorrow. So, write to me about today. I'm at neelyrealty.com/engage. That's NILEE realty.com/engage. Share your questions, share your comments, or even a topic you want covered here in the show. Or if you want to partner, let's discuss your goals and decide if real estate is right for you. Lastly, and always, if this show was helpful to you, it might be helpful to someone else also. Don't keep it a secret. I'm sharing, so you should too. Share it with someone else, and I'll see them and you back here next time on the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show.
You have been listening to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, sharing transparent knowledge on investing and the powerful impact real estate investing can have on your wealth and lifestyle. Follow or subscribe to the show using your favorite podcast app so you'll know firsthand when a new show is released, or visit neelyrealty.com/podcast and see the show there. That's NILEE Realty.com/podcast.